Yes, people, here we are. Welcome to another edition of your favorite weekly podcast, Back of the Net. Listen, we're here, Premier League Game Week 3 review. I got my guy Mike here. That he's one of my favorite Hammers fans, you know. But yeah, listen, what you say, Mike's?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on again, man. It's good to review the games as always, man.
Yeah, listen, there's some great games. Like I think it's been a weekend of good football. There might not be the best results for our teams, but I think this, the quality of the football's been good. Listen, only one place to start, man. Old Trafford. Like, come on. What did you think about today's game?
Bro, I thought I was very confident that Liverpool would win, but I didn't think it would be like that. Like, obviously, it was pretty much this first two goals was quite similar in terms of how it came about. Obviously, the turnovers, Casemiro losing the ball, they really targeted that midfield, and that's the thing. Like, obviously, they claimed in interviews that they didn't target anyone in particular because that's how they always press. But I think they know when you're studying each opponent, you know who the pressing triggers are if you're a higher pressing team, and Casemiro is definitely one of them. They boxed them in, and as much as Man United had a bit of the ball in their area at times, like, when Liverpool had the ball in their area, it's night and day, like between the two attacks. Like Liverpool, they've done it year in, year out. Even though Mane and Firmino have left like years ago, they've still got people like Diaz that can step up. Like, there's been talk of whether Diaz will leave and whether Diaz is good enough, etc. But here, people like him, people like Jota, people like Salah, obviously doing it again for another year in the Premier League, 2 assists and a goal once again. Like, the guy just doesn't stop.
FPL King.
Yeah. I went for the nonchalant gimmick and didn't include him or Haaland, and I'm suffering at the bottom of my league, so like near the bottom. So we'll rectify that with a cheeky wild card on Game Week 4.
Yeah,
the panic wild cards. But yeah, it's just night and day between the attack. I think you saw it with like the likes of Rashford's, the Garnachos, even like it's Xerxes' first start, so it's not really fair to be too harsh on him just yet. But with Garnacho and Rashford, especially with Bruno Fernandes in the 10, like, it's night and day between the attacks. Liverpool are way more clinical.
Yeah, no, spot on with that. And do you think that Liverpool were that good, or do you think United were that bad, or do you think it was just a bit of both?
I think Man United haven't really changed much for me. Like, they're more organised in defence, but them being better in defence doesn't make them good in defence. It just means the bar was low from last year, in my opinion. Like, the way we saw them concede goals, like, you're not going to see that as much now. They've got 2 new coaches that made them organised. But for me, their attack was never that good. Their attack are good in moments. And that's what that three of Garnacho, Fernandes and Rashford are. They're good in moments. And with Liverpool, like, I think they are just that good anyway. It's just natural to them to score in those kind of chances. Like, it's very rare, unless Darwin Núñez is playing, I'd say, then that they miss those kind of chances. But with especially Jota in the team, I know he didn't score today, but he played a key part in just making the decoy runs, opening up space for Diaz, etc. Like, Liverpool are just that good in attack, but Man United are that bad in possession. So I think it was the balance between those two aspects, especially.
That's a good shout. For me, I looked at it and I felt United would make it like an FA Cup. Remember last year how they made it in that game?
Yeah.
And even the league game where they drew. I feel like the way they started, I was like, oh, they're gonna, really do that. But then something changed. I can't remember what moment it was where Liverpool started getting the ball a lot more, getting the space, and I was like, if Liverpool score now, it's a problem. And then when Trent scored that one, you can see Liverpool then clicked into gear. And I don't think United had an answer. And I was talking to one of my other friends after the game. 4 of that back 4 are ex-Ajax. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Anana, Martinez, Mazraoui, De Ligt. That is a problem. And I was saying, I get your manager going to sign players that they previously know, but not 4.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you know what I mean?
Never, bro.
If you include the strike or winger, Anthony as well, 5, Ajax. It's too much. It's too much.
You can even do with like ex-Dutch players as well, just Dutch players that have like ex-Dutch league players as well. He even knows Mount from his time at Vitesse and stuff like that.
Right,
like when you look at like a manager coming into a team, like easy one is Maresca to Chelsea. He brought in Dewsbury Hall, but he didn't bring in the whole Leicester team. He didn't sign Mavididi Fatawu as well. He didn't sign the whole front three or whatever. And that is a common theme with managers bringing in former players, but not this many. And it actually makes even less of an excuse for him because he has even complained about in the past, I can't play Ajax football with these players. Well, that's what you're brought in to do. And you've got all Ajax players, you've got Dutch players that would actually know the Dutch style of football, but you clearly can't translate it. Yeah, fair enough. With some of these players aren't good enough to play that football, but you got to adjust. Like, what did you expect to happen? You got to be more ruthless. And they've got. We've heard all summer from Man United fans is the whole new structure. It's a whole new team. I don't know where they've got to put this positivity from, because they've signed all these new players for the same manager. And we saw from last year that they're a good cup team. They can grind results out. But when it comes to league form, can it be a consistent league team? I think they've proven not under Erik ten Hag, especially. And there's a difference with Liverpool right now. They look similar to last season, but just slightly more with different ideas. They've got the same players, but it's just different ideas. And they've only signed one player, and he didn't even play today. He didn't even play.
Yeah, no, but don't you listen? That was spot on. I feel like with Liverpool, they haven't made so many signings, but they look like they've gelled. You've got a manager in Slot that's been there for 3 games. His style looks like it's been implemented on the players already. Ten Hag's been there 3 seasons. We still don't know his style. I think my thing with Liverpool have surprised me, because when Klopp went, I thought they would really, really struggle. But I've looked and I've been impressed. I know it's 3 games only, but I'm very impressed with what I've seen. Gravenberch today, I thought was amazing in the 6. It's almost like, yes, he was wasteful. Don't know why he didn't shoot when he had that chance. You know what I mean, man? But he was good. Salah, listen, Salah, that's his playground, man. Like he's different. He's different gravy. And I just think Liverpool in general, they look good. They look good. And I had a break. The thing is, the break comes at the wrong time for them, but the right time for Man United. Because the break 3 games in, you don't want to have a break. You got the momentum. You know what I mean? Like look at Arsenal. We struggled a bit. Went to Dubai that season. Come back. You know, no, was it the other way around? No, actually, no. We come back from Dubai.
It was Dubai.
Yeah, so it can happen. But all in all, United will be very disappointed with that. And I personally think the board will be looking now going, because I know it's 3 games in, but it's a big game. It's your rival. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Is what is. Liverpool will be happy with that. I think, are they second now? Second or third? I think.
Yeah, it's probably second, I think, because they're the only 2 teams that have won all 3 games.
Yeah.
I think Man City and Liverpool. So
they're probably second. But yeah, good position for them to be in. So that's that one wrapped up. Let's talk about Tottenham. And I know I'm an Arsenal fan, you're a West Ham fan. We love talking when Tottenham lose. Yeah. Come, let's have a little dabble on Tottenham. What do you think of that game?
Oh, that was a game where, like, I think most people would predict Newcastle to win that game purely because of the previous visits of when Tottenham have gone to Newcastle. Obviously, that embarrassing game a couple of years ago under Stellini and last year's performance under Ange. With this one, it was a very it was an interesting game to watch in terms of end to end. It looked very end to end, a lot of energy, but there wasn't a lot of quality at first. And when I was looking at that Newcastle back 4, it's the same one at Bournemouth, and that could be got. They had a centre back partnership with Dan Burn and Emil Krafth. There was no excuses to not get at them. They had but when I saw the way Tottenham lined up, they were lining up with a Kulusevski in the false 9, I think, in the first half, and Son was on the left, and I was like, oh, that confused me. But then Sarr came off for Johnson, and after Newcastle take the lead in the first half, but in the second half, you're looking to dominate. You have most of the ball. Pretty much dominate for like 20, 25 minutes, peppering shots at their goal, testing Nick Pope. And the goal they scored was very weird from Nick Pope and very weird from Dan Burn. I don't know what he's doing there. I get own goals are sometimes unfortunate, but I don't know what he was thinking there. Just very erratic. But it's kind of summed the game up with their so-called dominance of the ball. And then all of a sudden, one turnover, Joe Linton threw ball in with behind that high line. Romero just gone to sleep. That's his man there. Because when the ball goes past there's only 3 defenders there. After that, there's a Doggy, Dragusin, and Porro. Dragusin actually had quite a good game, but Romero just left him for dead, and it's just one free ball. Your midfield has to be stronger there, and I don't think Tottenham. I don't know why Tottenham fans were hyping up their window, because they didn't do enough in their attack. They didn't do enough in their attack. They're attacking the whole rebuild, in my opinion. There's not really many clinical players apart from Solanke. He's a good player, but you re-signed Timo Werner. You already have Richarlison. Son, you don't know what kind of human Son you're going to get. And I think we've seen that beating Everton means nothing. We'll come on to them, I guess, later. But like that meant nothing, that result last week. And I just don't, I think Tottenham will have those games where they're going to struggle and get turned over really easily if they're going to play the way they do. Because if you play that high line, you've got to have a stronger midfield than that.
Yeah, definitely. And again, spot on. That's Tottenham in a nutshell. And I said before the start of the season, people laughed and I said, "Oh, Tottenham might finish 8th, 9th." And I said, what it is with Tottenham, they'll have them type of games where they'll let the team get through easily. They've got good quality attacking players. Son on his day is quality. Solanke's quality. Kulusevski just needs to discover some form. We know what Madders can do. I think Brennan Johnson, when he come and made a bit of a difference, was wasteful with his chance that he missed though. And I just think with Spurs, like you said, they signed Bergvall, Archie Gray, who else? I'm trying to think.
Solanke. Yeah, that was it, I think.
That was
and
it.
Timo Werner, they loaned Timo Werner again.
And then permanent now, isn't it? So,
no, I think it's just an extra loan, though. I think there's an option at the end. Yeah,
again, you see that there. What does Werner bring you? Bergvall and Archie Gray, yes, they'll come good, but Spurs not in a position to just put youngsters in. It's not like a Man City. You can play a Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob, or an Arsenal, Wanyeri, Skelly. Like Tottenham not in that position. So I feel like, their window wasn't as good as they're gassing up to be. And I expected, when they had all them chances they missed, I remember saying, typical Spurs, they're going to lose this now. And, they went ahead and lost. Isak scored, obviously the winner, who I really want to Arsenal, please, one day. But yeah, listen, obviously, the bad result for them. And I thought, was it North London derby after that, after the international break?
Yeah. That's going to be interesting, man.
We'll see what happens with that one. Yeah, that should be a good game. That should be a good one. But yeah, that's Newcastle 2, Tottenham 1. We'll touch a little bit on this one. Chelsea versus Palace today, 1-1, drop points after spending $2 billion. Talking about Chelsea.
Oh man, it was. I caught like a little bit of the game. It was like, I saw the second half of where they played. It wasn't as effective as how they would play in the first half. And you think with the front four of by now Jackson, Neto, Madueke, and Palmer, you'd try and carry on that Wolves form into Palace. I think it said a lot about Wolves' defence, though. I don't think people talked about that enough. Like, Wolves went to a back four, they tried to change it up, and it hasn't worked for them, so they went back to a back three this weekend. But with Chelsea, it's just about gelling now. Like, they've signed a lot of players, and don't get me wrong, like, a lot has been said about how many players they actually have, but they've signed a lot of youngsters, so it's kind of slightly misleading in that aspect, don't get me wrong. But I think now it's just about, you've got the players that you want to an extent, and you signed a lot of players over the years. Just let them gel now. I get they're trying to be ruthless, and I think in the way they're doing it, we don't know if it's going to be sustainable or not. We don't know, but with the game today, they're going to have games like today. They're going to have it. I think Chelsea will be up there for the top 4 race. I just think that I predicted them to finish 6th. I think they'll finish just below. They're going to have games like today where they're going to struggle to score a lot of goals at times with the defense isn't open, and they're not going to give them all the chances in the world. But they're also not very sure about the defense either. They seem to be lining up with Cole and Fofana as their centre-back partnership, but they don't seem to be sure of many of their centre-backs that are there at that current moment in time, which is kind of bad. That kind of leaves them looking like they've made some duds over the past couple of years with the centre-backs that they've signed, but we'll see about that. It's good. Like, with all these new players, a lot of new players going out, a lot of new players coming in. Jadon Sancho was announced at the stadium as well. He's got to come in as well. They've got a lot of attackers. They're going to have to just find time to gel them now. They just got to give the people time to work together and build relationships, especially if they're young players and you're building for the future or whatever.
Yeah, no, and that's good because, like you said, they've got such a big squad. They have to make it gel. I think Maresca have to decide who's my 22. Is it 22, 23-man squad? Bang, that's what I'm down with. They're in the conference, right? We've seen the opposition. Play your youngsters. Play your youngsters until you get further on. They're starting there, but I think, it's with Chelsea, I do laugh at them because they sign so many players like it's Football Manager, but they have a good team. Like, their bench is strong. They just need players to pick up their form. And like you said, if they gel, they're a scary team. I think where they've missed the trick, that Osimhen thing was massive for them. I kept saying on that day, I was tweeting, I was like, please don't let them get Osimhen. Because that was the one signing where you felt they'll go from here where they're a bit like, they're up there. And you know what I mean? They'll battle like the likes of an Arsenal in terms of give us like the toughest game, Liverpool, because now you've got a hot shot striker with Palmer behind him, Neto one wing, Madueke one side. Like, that's a good team. And you know what I mean? And with this Chelsea, but they have a good 11. Defense, they're not sure yet. Like you said, it's always Colwill. Where's Badiashile? Like, what's happened to him?
Yeah. Played him in a conference league, and apparently he didn't impress.
You see what I'm saying?
He's fallen off a cliff since his injury.
Goalkeeper-wise, Sanchez, not that good. They signed a young guy from, I think, Villarreal. Jorgensen. And it's just too much. What's happening? Reece James injured, Chilwell not in the squad. It's like they just need to settle down. You know what I mean? And that's why if you look at, again, we're going to touch on Arsenal as well. If you look at Arsenal in the position where they are because it's settled. Everyone knows what it's about, very structured, which is why I think Raheem Sterling will work at Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, people mocking, I get it, ex-Chelsea, Arsenal, you're signing Chelsea Deadwood again, blah, 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 whatever. But he goes into a team that they know their system, they know how to play, he knows about the league. So, yeah, I feel like that's why he really wasn't working at Chelsea. And I think Chelsea just needs to settle it down and it'll work from there. But I'll give Palace their dues, though, because after I think you guys beat them in the last game, wasn't it? Last game week?
Yep.
Look at the way you smiled when I said that as well. Yep. And I saw you at some of the fans online, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I saw that. But Palace were good. Eze quality, and when I watch Eze, I dream of the day. Please, just just come to them. But they were good, and I think Glasnow's got them playing decent football. But the whole thing with they again now Guehi's staying. Did they manage to sign that guy from Wolfsburg? I didn't.
They did. Him and Chalobah. Him and Chalobah on loan.
So him, Chalobah, Lacroix, Chalobah, and Guehi. That's a good. Listen, that's a good back three. And then I'm sure that Munoz and Mitchell was the wing backs, isn't it?
Yep.
Listen, that's a good. Well, listen, I'm pretty good. I missed it because of work. I wasn't sure if they had signed there. Lacroix, very good. So okay, but Palace did well there. A point for Chelsea. They'll be disappointed because obviously come off the Wolves game, but listen, teams need to dust themselves down. International break now. Put in, like you said, I don't know how many. Every one of their squad's probably going on international duty. The amount of players, you know what I mean? You'll get Maresco being traded like what? Who's there? You know
that Will Smith meme where no one there.
You know what? Let's go to the Saturday fixtures now because I think that's all the Sunday ones. Let's touch on Arsenal. We might as well. Arsenal, Brian. I'll start. For me, it was one of them games. 12:30 Saturdays, always them to have weird games. It's like everyone expects this show, but it's just like, And with Arsenal, when we don't score too early, I always think it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. We scored before half-time. Havertz had other chances as well. And, the longer you let a team stay in the game, things like what happened. For those that don't know, Declan Rice tapped the ball out for when Brighton were trying to restart with a free kick. Ref gave it as a second yellow and then went down to 10 men. What I will say, Arsenal fared well with 10 men still, which that gives me all right, we're very good, but we didn't score the chance. And that's a sign of a good team. But at the end of the day, Brighton got their point. They could have won it as well. One of the players missed one goal. I think Raya fell on the floor and was the other side. And he kicks it back at him. I thought, if you just curled it the other way, you know what I mean? But we take the point. And people laughed at the point. Yes, it's dropped points, but we don't know how significant that point will be considering we finished with 10 men. So it's give or take. But what did you think about, what did you think about the yellow card decision, the second yellow card?
So you know what it is like. I'm very balanced on this thing where I think it's fair to give that a second yellow because he did kick the ball away. I think he knows what he's doing. But where I have sympathy is João Pedro also did kick the ball away earlier in the game, so he should have got a yellow as well. It's the lack of consistency. Where I don't agree with Arsenal fans in this sense is that red card. Even though, as you said, you guys played well with 10 men. Like in a few instances where Arsenal under Arteta go down to 10 men, Arteta knows what to do. He'll go to the 5-3-1, and you guys will still hit them on the counter, and you get chances. You guys still had chances in that game, and you guys could have finished it. Like I think if you're going even back to the red card, like even from Declan Rice's perspective, you don't do that if you're on a yellow. You're already on a yellow. The first yellow was very rash, so you don't do that again. You don't do anything like that again. Like. Despite the fact that the ref didn't give a yellow for that earlier, and even if throughout the season we've seen that rule go a bit weird anyway, where like the people kick the ball away and they don't give the yellow again. Whenever they make new rules, they don't follow it up. I think people need to learn that by now. Don't listen to the refs. Like the refs are going to be inconsistent anyway. Like that's why I don't even get angry about refereeing anymore when it comes to even
sure.
my games. I don't care because any ref you're gonna get a bad game anyway. But with Arsenal, even then, you guys were okay organized when you got the red card. But it was that goal that you guys conceded could have been dealt with much better by even your defenders and midfield. Like I thought, apart from that, Gabriel was having a decent game, and he put his body on the line and blocking the ball. But there were certain situations like that where maybe the midfield and the defenders could have done better with the goal. And Havertz had a chance. He had the second chance. He took his goal well. Don't get me wrong, he took his goal very well. But the chance was pretty much given to you. Go and finish it, sort of thing. When you create a second chance all for yourself, that's all well and good, but you got to finish that as well, which is the fine margins for me of why Arsenal, for me, should have signed a striker. When you look at Arsenal's window in general, the Raheem Sterling one, I think that would be a good signing if like you had all your priorities done and you can take those opportunities to sign someone like a Sterling who's available. Because on deadline day, if Sterling's available, that's an opportunistic signing. I think fair enough, you needed someone like a Marino because of the whole left-footed balance on the left-hand side and stuff like that as well. But that also puts into question, is Rice going to be trusted in the 6 again? Because we saw back in the last season, you guys moved Rice further forward because you put Jorginho there because he gives you something different and stuff like that as well. And my question for all of this is like Martinelli and Trossard. What happens with them two? Because both of them started in their respective games, and they didn't put in the greatest of performances as a starter. But we see Trossard could come on and make an impact. But is Sterling going to have to come in straight away and start then on the left-hand side?
It's a tough one. I feel like if you look at all three, and this Arsenal fans might hate me for this, but I think you've got to put. It's a weird one. Depending on who you play, Trossard is better as an impact sub. Some right, cool. There are some games you start and he scores goals. I love him. The celebration. You're the man, Trossard. You're the man. But there are some games where he's better off just coming on as a sub. I think Liverpool at home last season, he come on as a sub. I think when he scored the goal, kicked it through Alisson's legs. So he has the moments. Martinelli needs to pick up the form. Sterling, I just got this feeling he's going to come in with a point to prove. And the plus point with him, you can play him all across the front three. You might play a game where it's like you want to rest the Havertz, play Sterling as a false nine. I know it's not the best thing, but when you're playing opposition, like no disrespect, like a Southampton maybe, you got to mix it up, put him, you know what I mean? When you want to play against people, then play high line, put Sterling up top back, it's gone. But yeah, we could have won that. I think with Havertz, that chance, if you think about the strike, think about Haaland, and we're going to get to West Ham next. If you're sprinting with the ball and you're going through a goal, sometimes you've got to give it a little bit of a, like, don't hit it low. Give it, because the keepers always spread the leg. We always see that save a lot. If you give it a little, just loft it a little bit, it's in. So I feel like with him, he ain't got the speed to kind of get the ball and keep, like get away from the defender. So I think that's it. That's the issue with him. But listen, it was a point. Brighton started the season well. And some people complain about yellow. Me, I do think it was a second yellow. I just don't like the inconsistency, like you said, because I want to see that decision now in other games. Don't let the season go on. I see someone else do it and they get away with it. That'll be my problem, because that'll be a terrible precedent to set with the season going on.
You're going to see that though. That's the Premier League, man. You're going to see that. Like, you're guaranteed to see that.
Which is so annoying, But yeah, listen, we got a point. It was frustrating, but today's results has made me feel a lot better. And I can enjoy it. I can enjoy the highlights of some other people's podcasts. Listen, let's get into West Ham, Man City. Like, what were your thoughts?
Obviously, if people know me already, they know I but I have a good old rant after games. But with this game, it was like, I'm one of them people. I don't do the whole, I know we lost, but we performed well, so I'm completely fine with it. I don't do all of that, but I'm just looking at the bigger picture of things. That's the most encouraged I've been in the 4 games that we played in all competitions so far, including the Carabao Cup game in midweek. Like, for 45 minutes in the second half against Palace, we played relatively well, but a lot of that was being more aggressive in the press and winning the ball back, and even the 2 goals we scored was hitting them on transition, which we know we can do because we've got Bowen. Like, Bowen's the transition king in our team. But against Aston Villa, we started okay, and then we conceded a goal. And then it was very hard to get into the game after. We were very wasteful in possession, hitting the ball long too many times. And with taking Thomas Tuchel out of that, it gives you more of the aspect of it's a lot more players that are good on the ball now. So he started with Alvarez and Rodriguez to get Alvarez coming back, and obviously he started Alvarez and Rodriguez, 2 number 6s, so to make it a little bit more defensive, but at the same time we can still progress with the ball. And that we had them in times of the first half and at really good portions in the second half where we're actually trying to create against Manchester City. However, under previous regimes, not even just Moyes, but even under like Pellegrini or whoever, if it was under Bilic, we would have no hope. If it was under Pellegrini, it would be very wasteful in possession. If it was under Moyes, if we go 1-0 down, there isn't really a plan B afterwards, especially from last season. However, we go 1-0 down, we keep the same principles, we keep calm, we still try and play our football, etc. And I was fine. I was fine with the performance, with the context of this is your 3rd Premier League game altogether, and it was against Manchester City. The schedule hasn't been nice to you, and it's not going to get any nicer because this is the Premier League. But you're still holding yourself down well. We just needed to be more clinical and less wasteful in possession. Like, love Paquetá, but he was very wasteful. Not even the goal. Yeah. Like, the first goal, like, Emerson put him under pressure, but just basic stuff. He'd been a bit too rash. Mavropanos has shown himself that he can perform well at times, but he's probably a squad player at best, in my opinion. I think Saliba would have to come in. Antonio didn't play awful, but Fulkrug would have to come in for me and give him a chance, in my opinion. I think the whole Kudus on the left thing, for trying to fit Kudus, Paquetá, Bowen into the same team, is going to be make or break this manager, whether how he can progress this team. I think overall, I've been really impressed with Wan-Bissaka and Kilman, especially. Like, the 3 games in a row, Wan-Bissaka's really impressed me. Very good in possession so far. Just very patient as well. Very good 1v1. Didn't really let Greenish go past him. He just made Greenish. The only thing you could do is pass. So you can't go past me. And I've been really impressed with Kilman. Kilman's holding himself down all 4 games. It's been probably our best player. So overall, I was most encouraged by that performance out of all the games, and we lost 3-1. Like, we lost 3-1 to City last year, and it didn't look like this. It didn't look like this. It was very sloppy goals, and there wasn't as much hope. You couldn't really see what we were trying to do last year. As within this season, you can see what we're trying to do. So if we carry that on against teams of a lesser caliber, I'm fine with it. I'm fine.
No, listen. I'm in agreement with you. Listen, I did the West Ham to finish top 4. Know, might be a bit too far, but I feel like with West Ham, I feel like Kilman just looks like a West Ham player. First of all, he's got the, was it? Wait, who was cap? He hasn't got the band already, has he? No, Bowen's captain. My bad. But you can see someone like Kilman in the future if he stays there becoming captain. I think I look at West Ham's team. I think I agree with you as well. I think Kudus on the left doesn't work. He had the moment where he hit the post, that's fine. But I would personally, I'd maybe do the Kudus up to the right so he can do his cutting. If they're not trusting Fulkrug at the moment, I'd rather put Bowen up top.
My only problem with that is Bowen doesn't really have the striker movement for me. I know he scored goals last year from technically playing at striker, but a lot of that was still coming off the right. Like, for me, the only way to really make them 3 work is play Paquetá deeper, play Kudus in the 10, and play Bowen on the right, and just go for the full throttle. Because otherwise, you're not going to get the best out of them in all of their positions. With Bowen, he's always going to naturally drift to the right, even when he's playing striker. So he's still going to get in Kudus' way, which was my problem with the whole Bowen up front thing last year.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Because you've got so many options now. Like, it's good problem to have. And I feel like with certain opposition, Bowen might work up there. Certain opposition, you might say, do you know what? No, I think Somerville's the only one that's guaranteed to stay in the position that you put him in, because I don't think he's ever played right for Leeds.
He played both sides. He played both sides, but mainly left wing last season.
Mainly left wing, yeah. So I think with that, but I think you guys will be all right. I think you can. I saw the performance yesterday, and sometimes you learn a lot from a loss. And the way you guys didn't sit back and say, come in and Man City, just do what you got to do. You went at it. You did. And obviously that's why you're punished for the 3rd goal when Haaland dinked it. But what can you do? Listen, the guy's a freak of nature. I just want to talk about his goals, quickly. So the first finish, cool, it happened. Paquetá made a mistake. Cool. The second one, the guy wants to smash the net off. Like,
he hates us.
I watched him kick it. And all I saw, I was like, what? Has it hit the net? And he just celebrated. And I went, this guy. And then the third one, no one doubted it. When he went through a goal, you knew it. Everyone was like...
It's just like, you could look at any other player in the Premier League and think, they might miss this. They might miss 1v1. So 1v1 has been a debate. Is it a hard chance or not? It's bread and butter for him. Bread and butter for him. All you need to do is just run it behind. And that's the City have got an upper level. Like, what should it like? live or watching it on TV, you can see City have gone up a level from last season, which people don't like. I know you're not going to like, especially, but like I was thinking about it, even like without Rodri, they've got the option.
Foden.
Yeah, without Foden as well. But even in the midfield, for example, like even if they haven't got Rodri, they've got Kovacic that can play deeper, but they brought Gundogan back. So they've got both of those options. Like Gundogan could do a different job to Kovacic can. Kovacic was really good against us. He was one of the main guys against us. Like controlled games very well. So and Haaland he's just a freak of nature. He's won the Golden Boot already. They just give it to him. And the guy is gonna always win the Golden Boot for as long as he's here. And very soon, Alan Shearer record. Say goodbye. Say a sweet goodbye to that Alan Shearer record. Because if he keeps going like this, it's gonna end in the next 2 years, bro.
It's just like, you know what's so funny? Do you remember when he missed that goal in the Community Shield, missed that chance, and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy, this ain't the Farmers League." And I think Nunes played well that game, and now it's just completely he scored, so it's completely reversed now. But he's absolutely phenomenal. He didn't have a tournament to play as well in the summer, did he? So he was training, and I think he was saying with his dad that he was doing axing. Like he was axing down trees or something. I'm like, it makes sense. It makes sense why he's got up and doing what he's doing. But no, honestly, they look scary. And you know what it is? When Pep says we're not ready or he does the opposite, innit? So when he says
he's lying,
he's always lying. Like, you know, when he'll say, "Oh, that club, they're playing so well, they can't be beaten." Then you go whoop them 4 or 5-0, and I'm like, why do you keep doing it? But as you said, I think until that time, Gundogan, I was a bit more confident. I felt like, you know what, no Gundogan, Alvarez, whatever. Like, you know, we might do a thing. But I watched it now, and I think the 3 games in, and they look no Rodri, like you said. They might even decide to just tell Rodri to chill. And I was so funny. I didn't even realize Rodri wasn't playing. You know, I forgot so
exactly.
I'm so used to them winning, and then someone said no Rodri. I went, wait, let me go back and watch these games. I went, oh my god! And they don't lose. And they don't lose when he plays. So like, what? Oh my god! They give me headache, man. They give me. They're in a phenomenal position. They're going to be hard to beat. But you know what? I like the challenge. I do like the challenge. You know, when you got a lot of people don't like teams that, you know, they dominate like this. But I like having teams that's like, oh, I want to be better than them, because when you win, it's sweeter. Because, you know, you're playing a team at the top of their game. But yeah, listen, they look good. Was it 3-1? But yeah, could have been. Listen, had Kudus have scored before we wrap on that one. Had Kudus have scored, that game could have changed quick. You know.
Yeah, we had a couple chances. You know.
You did.
Somerville hit the post at the end. Antonio had a chance early in the game. Like, we had chances.
That's what I'm saying.
We're creating. That's the better thing. We're creating.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. West Ham under Moyes were doing a lot of that. And what I love, you were keeping the ball on the floor and playing football. You know what I mean? You weren't, let's hoof it. You know what I mean? Which is why I think Souček's time's up now. I feel like this system is not working. You know what I mean? It's not working for him. Before we wrap up the review, we're gonna finish on this game because it's the most fascinating game of the weekend. Everton 2, Bournemouth 3. You know, you were telling me off air. Tell the people what you were saying about when you were shocked about the result, because it was a bit mad.
Yeah, so obviously that's a 3:00 game. I'm heading to the West Ham game 5:30 and all that, and I'm on the train and I'm looking. Oh, okay, Everton have gone 2-0 up. And when I was at home, they were 1-0 up. I was like, okay, I'm lining up to get into the stadium, all of that check stuff and all that. And someone says, oh, how have they bottled it 3-2? And I'm thinking it's the Leicester Villa game, because I know Leicester scored and Villa were 2-1 up, etc. I thought Leicester came back against Villa. I did not know that Bournemouth scored 3 in 5 minutes. As soon as I got into the ground is when I found out the score, and I was just like, hold on, Everton, how? And you think, oh, Sean Dyche, defensive, all of this, but I was looking at like the game, and I watched it back on Game of the Day, and I was looking at what Everton fans were saying, and they were right. The way the game changed was after Iliman Ndiaye came off, who is a very good signing, or someone that Sheffield United struggled to keep last season. They went to Marseille, so obviously come back to Everton and stuff. And they put Decore on and lost complete control of the game. He was playing really well, and then Bournemouth came into it. And Bournemouth haven't had the greatest start in terms of finishes, but they are a promising team. Every time you watch them, you think they could still score like at any time. Yeah. And they may have sold Solanke, but they got Evan Nilsson in, so they're very quick with their recruitment. And from an Everton perspective, you can see why Everton fans are so frustrated, because even though Sean Dyche is very known to keep teams up and they didn't look bad last season, you can understand that even though their squad isn't the greatest, there's more to get out of that squad than what Sean Dyche is doing. And they were playing quite well up until that moment. So why can't they play well for 90 minutes is puzzling for me. But they I've not seen a comeback like that in ages in the Premier League, where it's just like 3 goals in a matter of 5 minutes. I can't remember the last game that happened.
I was actually trying to think of something like that. What? Oh, that's a good question.
Maybe when we drew with Tottenham 3-3 with them years ago, like
maybe.
But even that theirs was better than ours because it was still like 10, 12 minutes. Theirs was like 5 minutes or whatever it was.
That's crazy. Now you know what is with Everton as well. Everton, they're such a passionate bunch, the fans. We saw what happened when they lost to who did they lose to when the fans were going to them when they were going home on the train?
Right.
Tottenham. Brighton and then Tottenham after, And you know, they just want the best of the team. I said before the season, I feel like they're going to get relegated. I feel this is the season where their luck's run out. I think the quality they think they have, the players not as good as they think. Someone like Ndiaye has to play all the games for them to survive. I think Beto's not that good. Calvert-Lewin is going to break down at some point. I think the defense, they're banking on defenders that the game's changing now. Like your Tarkowski, Keane. That's what I'm saying. Seamus Coleman, stalwart, but come on. You know what I mean? Ashley Young, right back. You know what I mean?
Got a red card in his first game, bro.
I saw he got a red last season in Liverpool as well. So like he's just
something like that,
like I feel like they're in a position now where it's like, and they're not investing properly. They've got a new stadium coming. Listen, they're going to be going to a new stadium in the Championship, mate. The best stadium in the Championship. No, but it's true if they're not careful.
It's just you know.
And I feel that Dyche might not last a season.
He might not,
You know, he's known to have teams that are solid, hard to beat. But Bournemouth are scoring 3. And that's not discrediting what Bournemouth have done. But this is Everton. Everton and Goodison normally 2-0 up. You're like, they're so frustrating when you play them, you know what I mean? So I feel like
even Bournemouth haven't won there in the Premier League, I don't think Bournemouth have won there in the Premier League in ages or something like that.
And even if you look at the goals that were scored, the first goal I think was Semenyo when it come in, scored, then Lewis Cook header, and then who scored there for Sinistera?
Something like that, Sinistera.
Sinistera, one of them. But even the way they consider them goals, I'm like, what the hell is that, Everton? You know what I mean? You're thinking, what? And it doesn't get easier because so their first three fixtures, Tottenham, Brighton, and now lost to Bournemouth. That's kind of worrying because you can kind of accept Tottenham. Brighton at home, you expect putting a better performance, but then obviously you got this one and you lost to Bournemouth. So listen, it's looking sticky for them, man. Very, very sticky.
10 goals in 3 games, 10 goals conceded in 3 games as well. Like that's not great. 10 goals in 3 games.
Listen, their goal difference is -8. -8. You're 3 games in, your goal difference is -8. Because I said I feel like Ipswich, their home record will save them. I feel like they'll finish like 17th based because they play neat football. You know, they drew against Fulham as well. But yeah, I think Everton, I think that's it for them. Anything else you want to touch on that game or?
No, everything's said, man.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, rubbish team. People think I hate on them. I just don't like the fact they're always flirting with it. But this year, you're going. Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Happens to everyone, man. Happens to everyone. Happens to every team. Wigan, Sunderland, Bolton. We've seen it in the past, bro. It's always the time to get relegated.
And if they go, I don't think we're going to see them for a bit. I think they will do like that Bolton. Like I was watching something and oh yeah, Bolton were in the Premier League.
Yeah, but Sunderland back-to-back relegation. Sunderland back-to-back.
Listen, it can happen.
They did a whole documentary about getting promoted back to the Premier League, and they got relegated to League One. Sometimes,
I'm telling you, it can happen. But listen, just touching the other results as well. You had Brentford beat Southampton 3-1. Ipswich drew 1-1 with Fulham. And we had Leicester losing to Villa 2-1, which is a good result again for Villa. And I think the final one was Forest and Wolves was 1-1, which... So if you look at the league, I know it's early on, but we've got top 4 of Man City, Liverpool, Brighton, Arsenal. Your lot are in 13th. But I know it's early days. Next week should be in Fulham away. Be tricky. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. I swiped right on your fixtures. I saw Fulham away. That's Liverpool's Cup. Liverpool Cup. Chelsea at home. Brentford away and then Ipswich. Yeah, so it's all right, man. You know what it is in this league? You've got to win like 5 on the trot and you're in a great position. Like you know what I mean? You don't know where you're going to go from there. You know what I mean? But listen, before we wrap up, big up your channel. Let them know what you got planned, man, over the week and stuff like that. Because I saw today you were talking about you're going to do a mini series or something like that.
Yeah. So just like at GVO Mike's on everything: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as well. But Yeah, I'm gonna do a mini series. It's gonna be a mini upload series, just a couple topics, just more of the light-hearted side of football and stuff like that. So that'll happen every Monday. I've got a show every Monday rounding up the Premier League games with my mate Alfie as well. That'll be at 6:30 on a Monday, live as well. And yeah, I'll be live streaming it every week, and every match preview and every match reaction will be live streamed on my channel.
Oh, yeah, you heard him, man. Listen, I'm gonna put his details down on the links as well. But make sure to check him out, man. Listen, great content. He knows me. I'm always popping up on his lives, and I pop in and I pop out. You know what I mean? Every now and then. But you know what I mean? Listen, thanks for coming on. Listen, you know what it is back in that podcast. You know where to find me: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, a lot. Listen, I'm trying to give you all the content. It's hard around work, but I'm trying. So forgive me, guys. Also, tomorrow I'm gonna have a fantasy football roundup. Before I go, do you do fantasy football?
I do, yeah.
You do. All right, I might have to holler at you tomorrow. Let's not talk about what your points are yet. We'll talk off it. We'll probably try and link up and do that tomorrow. But listen, guys, you know what it is. It's been a pleasure. Like, subscribe, share, comment. There we are. But I'll see you guys tomorrow and later in the week. I'm out. Peace.